Obesity is not an epidemic that has subsided. In fact, it has gotten worse, and the trends are really alarming. What the researchers found in this case is that more than 10% of the world's population, that's 107.7 million children and 603.7 million adults, is now obese.
Related to how I believe it could be a national security threat within the next 20 to 30 years.
The main health problems associated with obesity are cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, musculoskeletal disorders, and some types of cancer. Each year, at least 2.6 million adults die as a result of being overweight or obese, making it the fifth leading risk for global deaths.
4 Americans that are alive will be dead through the food that they eat, food that we've built around them. 2/3 of this room today in America are statistically overweight or obese. You lot, you're all right, but we'll get you eventually, don't worry. Right? The statistics of bad health are clear, very clear.
The declaration of grams and a % daily value for added sugars will be added to help consumers know how much sugar has been added to the product. This is something that I have talked about in multiple videos, a sort of dream of mine that I didn't think we would ever get because of the power of the food industry. On the current calorie label, food companies only report sugars, total sugars, which obscure the amount of sweeteners like sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, malt sugar, molasses, and others that foods contained. And those are the ones that you would recognize as being sugar. There are lists of literally dozens of things that are sugar, that the body treats as sugar, that have names you will never be able to identify, that they would have in the list of ingredients to hide the fact that you're consuming sugar. Or there would be products that include some natural sugars, products that have fruit in them, for instance, or milk, for instance, which has galactose, which is a form of sugar but is not bad for your health, that would also have added sugar, and you had no way of knowing which was which. And so this is a great change. And we're going to talk
about programs that do work or don't work. There's a program called The Shine that's in Pennsylvania, rural counties of Pennsylvania, that provides after-school educational programs for individuals in those areas, which just so happens to be the state that helped propel President Trump to the White House. I'm curious what you say to those Americans in a community where they tell me today that 800 individuals will no longer, children who need it most, will no longer be provided in those most needy of communities the educational care they need.
I'm not familiar. Y'all are at an advantage over me because I have to memorize all 4,000 line items. So let's talk about after-school programs generally. They're supposed to be educational programs, right? And that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to help kids who don't get fed at home get fed so they do better in school. Guess what? There's no demonstrable evidence they're actually doing that. There's no demonstrable evidence they're actually helping results, helping kids do better in school, which is what, when we took your money from you to say, look, we're going to go spend on an after-school program, the way we justified it was, these programs are going to help these kids do better in school and get better jobs. And we can't prove that that's happening.
To be clear, we're saying...
And the way I look at it is if you don't have knives and forks in your school, you're purely endorsing, from a state level, fast food, because it's handheld. And yes, by the way, it is fast food. It's sloppy joes, it's burgers, it's wieners, it's pizzas, it's all of that stuff.
Fiercely held aspiration for our health care, that it keep us healthy. This aspiration that our health care keep us healthy is an enormously powerful one. And the way I think about this is that healthcare is like any other system. It's just a set of choices that people make. What if we decided to make a different set of choices?